Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown, the unofficial sumo podcast for official sumo fans. This is Ryan.
This is Fleric.
This is Jake.
And this is Mac.
And this is our 2024 predictions check-in at the beginning of the year in January before the Hatsu Basho. We made predictions in 7 different categories that we are tracking throughout the year, and whoever ends up with the most points will be crowned as Dai Yokozuna and will get the honor of introducing the podcast in every episode throughout the year of 2025. So we figured a couple months in, more than a couple months, let's see, we are 67% of the way through the sumo schedule of 2024. We'll do a check-in and see how everything's looking, see who is looking at top billing for the podcast in 2025 and who's looking like they're going to be pulling up the rear.
I won't lie, Ryan. When you were not there at the last episode, I think the Nagoya recap, I was then the top ranking Ozeki who had to fill in for introducing the podcast. And I'll tell you what, it was kind of nice. I kind of want to take this spot from you, man.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I got back to the bus. It's nice to be driving it again. I feel like there's some new dents that weren't there before. The brakes are squeaking a little bit, and I had to fix a couple of flats. But
yeah,
but you know what? We got it back in driving condition. We're good, and we're ready to go.
I do want to thank you for saying in a legally binding way that the Dai Yokozuna will introduce on all podcast episodes. So potentially Ryan or Mac might need to get way more involved in amateur sumo than they already are.
Oh. Good luck.
Yeah.
Yes,
Good luck. Yeah, fair enough.
All right, so let's start with the first question that we asked ourselves at the beginning of this year. How many Yokozuna will there be at the end of the year, and who will it be? And I think an important distinction is we are counting who will be Yokozuna in the Kyushu 2024 Basho, not like if Koto Zakura wins the next 2 Yusho and he'll be Yokozuna in Hatsu. Doesn't count. They've got to be Yokozuna in the Bansuke.
What if they're like
Basho?
What if they're like promoted and they're like, regardless, it's not. It's like literally not going to happen for any of us.
Don't think that's likely to happen.
But with what appears to be a very GSB level of predicting here, I feel like we should be as lenient as possible on ourselves.
We reserve the right to change our minds.
I scanned through the outline, and it is grim.
Weird that poor people in the middle of Iowa couldn't accurately predict how a year's worth of sumo would go.
We try harder than anybody for hundreds of miles, but
so we're currently sitting in the world of sumo, we have one Yokozuna. That is, of course, Teru no Fuji. And as of now, if that is how the year ends, nobody's going to get both of those elements exactly correct. Yeah. We had Mac and Fleric predict that we'd have one Yokozuna. Both of them thought it would be the now Sekiwake Kirishima. I had no Yokozuna at the end of the year. I had Teru no Fuji bowing out with nobody replacing him. And Jake had Teru no Fuji going strong, but Kirishima joining him at the rank of Yokozuna.
He was so hot this winter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. If Teru no Fuji retires before there's a new Yokozuna, that'd be the worst case scenario. Not just for sumo, but because that would mean that Ryan gets points. But
you're right.
He's got the 10. That one element checked off the list, so he's getting closer.
But if it holds, if he doesn't retire, if we get to the end of the year, then me, Mac, and Fleric would all get 1 point. And the world would be worth living in still.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting thing you brought up, Jake. Like Hiroshima was so hot, like going into that. I think he was on the rope run, like Cena run, like for January, right?
He had went 13-2 in November prior to us making these predictions. He had won his 2nd Yusho of the year. He had been newly promoted to Ozeki. He had the most wins in 2023. He was our rikishi of the year for 2023. So Kirishima had it all going for him in the year of 2023, but unfortunately that train horribly fell off the tracks and then promptly exploded in the year 2024.
He had a
not
good January. He went 11-4 in January, and since then he has a total of
And he had a good January.
Yeah, great January. 11 wins in January, 14 wins total since then.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And
I feel like this is going to be a theme of where Sumo is so cruel and just hates fun storylines like that. So
and I think a lot of our predictions, we're going to be reminded of who was doing well in November. It's going to be where a lot of our predictions are based here, I think.
Yep.
But there were some fun other storylines that popped up. So I'm not gonna be totally sad. I'm just trying to get into the mind of where I was when I made these predictions, like looking at how this year is gonna go. And it was definitely not Kirishima. It was definitely some newcomers a couple times this year to win some Yushos.
There you go.
So what can happen with the rank of Yokozuna for the rest of the year? It's either going to finish with 1 or 0. Nobody's going to be able to make it up to the rank of Yokozuna by the November Basho. It is mathematically impossible. The best you could get is like Koto Sakura or Hoshoryu going 15-0 in September. And even that's not going to be enough because Koto Sakura went 10-5. Hoshoryu went 9-6 at Basho before. That does not make a Yokozuna run in and of itself. So
I'd say if either one of those guys wins both of them and gets promoted, I'd still say we should have counted that if either of us had guessed it. But regardless.
You're only saying that because it would benefit you.
Oh, because I did pick 2. Okay, I was way off on Kirishima. Okay, nope.
It's like, yeah.
By all means, feel free to dismiss me, but that was not where I was coming from.
That's my usual state, is just dismissing you out of hand with whatever you say.
Yeah, no. Right. So I mean, we can keep that rolling.
So I gotta ask. So Mac and I both picked 1. So even if Terunofuji ends up as the lone Yokozuna, we still get points.
You get 1 point for having the correct number of Yokozuna, but not any points for who the Yokozuna was.
Okay.
Partial points. I'll take.
So partial points. Hey, partial credit. We'll win.
Yep.
We'll win.
So let's move on to a category that we've all got some partial credit in already this year.
Hooray.
How many Ozeki will there be at the end of the year, and who will it be? It looks like all of us might have overshot the number of Ozeki, as we all predicted 3 or 4, and with 2 Basho to go, we're currently sitting at 2. But luckily for the Kyushu Basho, we are locked into 2 Ozeki that we will have there, as Hoshoryu and Koto Sakura are both guaranteed to have the rank of Ozeki in Kyushu. And so that is 2 points for all of us except for Fleric, as Fleric was the only one who did not predict Koto no Waka to be promoted to Ozeki this year, and we all predicted that Hoshoryu would remain at the rank of Ozeki this year.
Yeah, I think it's worth noting that all 4 of us had Takakeisho on this list.
Yeah.
Who very well could get back there. I mean, we'll talk about this plenty on our next Basho preview, but like that's far from a guaranteed loss there.
Right.
You know, he's done it before. He could do it again. Well, like I said, we'll talk about that later. But yeah, as far as other people that could get there by the end of the year, it's kind of just Onosato, right?
I think mathematically he's the only one who, based off of a good September, could be promoted for November. He's coming off of 12-win Yusho, 9 wins in the last Basho. That's 21 over the past 2 Basho. Having 9 in there isn't great, but we've seen plenty of times where there's been an 8 or a 9-win Basho and an Ozeki run. So you got to think if he gets 12 or more in September, he would be promoted up to Ozeki. So we have potential from anywhere between 2 and 4 Ozeki still at the end of the year. Unfortunately, Kirishima will not be able to make it up at the end of the year. He is ineligible. So it's just Takakeisho or Onosato who could join and bolster the Ozeki ranks before the end of the year. Looking at who we all had, so Jake mentioned, all of us predicted Takakeisho to be up there. We all had Hoshoryu. Everybody except Fleric had Koto no Waka. Fleric had his wild card Ozeki. He was high on the Daisho supply at the beginning of 2024. So he had a Daisho Ozeki run at some point. And Mac was pretty high on Atami Fuji, who was coming off of back-to-back 11-win tournaments.
I mean, how can you not?
Yeah. So
what a time
they're all
that
justifiable.
I didn't
shut up. You shut up.
Yeah.
I'm excited about this one because I think I'm the only one who's got a shot at actually getting full credit on this one still.
Yes.
Because I picked 3 total Ozeki, Hoshoryu, Kotonowaka, and Takakeisho. So I still got a shot.
Fair enough.
Nice. So, okay, so I'm trying to, so the beginning of the year, this is when Daisho was still kind of up there as a forever Sekiwake, right? And so, but he's the one who kind of faltered a little bit. So that's kind of like the one big change I noticed in this year, which is sad. But he did get a Junyusho. So I think he's still pretty good.
Yeah, so Daisho in 2023 had a winning record in every single basho with double-digit wins in 4 out of 6 tournaments. He was ranked Sekiwake for the final 4 tournaments of the year. He was coming off of 10 wins in September and 9 wins in November. So long shot for a January one, but he was in position with a couple of good bashos to make an Ozeki run. I don't think you were out of line at all with that sort of prediction. And honestly, I'm not gonna throw too much crap on Mac here, because like if he had said Ono Sato, we would have laughed him off, but Ono Sato's right in position to do what he thought the other young hot shot Atami Fuji would do. So you know what, Mac, he had the right idea, just the wrong guy.
Wrong guy.
Slightly off target. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I'm pulling up the records. So it seems like the story of the year so far. We Daisho, it was not Daisho's year. He unfortunately stumbled. And looking at with Atami Fuji, like going into at the end of 2023, 2 Junyushos, one from Maegashira 15, one from Maegashira 8. So I can see like he was definitely the hot stuff coming into this year.
Yeah.
But sumo is so cruel. Like it's so hard to be consistently good. And like there's definitely some new hotshot bloods like the Ono Satos that just kind of apparently just kind of knocked him down a bunch. So
I would push back that he still has been Maegashira 2 or better all year long, and is still 21 years old. So like he clearly found his current ceiling immediately. But he's still got plenty of time, and I have plenty of faith that he's going to continue getting better, because he's like a regular hot prospect as opposed to like a generational hot prospect, the way that we've had too many recently. But yeah, Atami Fuji absolutely is still somebody that, like, I don't know, if we were going to say right now, make a dark horse pick for an Ozeki a year from right now, Atami Fuji would still totally be in that conversation.
Yeah. But apparently 2024 is not his year. It's just new.
And that's okay. Like Jake said, he's 21 years old. He can have a couple of...
He's fine.
Plenty of future Ozeki or Yokozuna stall out for a little while at different levels of ceiling. So, I don't know. Who knows?
Not everybody can be Hira de Umi and just bowl right into the joy and just keep rocketing up like nothing ever happened.
Okay, where is he at in 2023? Where is Hira de
Umi? His career highest rank at that point was Maegashira 5, which he hit in July of 2023. He went 5-10 from that point. And in November of 2023, the last we had seen of him before the predictions, he went 9-6 from Maegashira 11. And he has since gone 8-7, 9-6, 9-6, 10-5 with the Technique Award. No, I'm not saying any of us should have predicted what Hira de Umi has done.
We all thought he was probably going to be like a double-digit Maegashira small guy, entertaining like a Midori Fuji or a Ishiura or somebody like that. You know, fun to watch, but like, oh, never mind. It's actually working out.
There you go. So there's nothing in there that we could pick up on. We need to get good at this, guys. We can't be so bad. There's got to be something in here doing these records.
We've been watching and covering sumo for 7 years at this point. I mean, a few more years, get a little bit more experience, notice the trends. We might get a little bit better, but ultimately, sports be unpredictable, and that really makes it hard to predict.
And that's what keeps us coming back. It's like the unpredictable. Well, okay, part of it, but still.
Sumo is like uniquely vulnerable to all of the like complete roll of the dice things in sports.
Nah, I was all about Sumo being unpredictable last episode. Now I'm all about trying to figure out the magic.
now that Fleric has a chance at victory and just going all out and be like, I am now introducing the episodes. He wants it.
The moment has passed. Yeah.
But no, that's I think it's interesting that the Daishos and the Tommy Fujis have stopped down, and it's the Hirodomis and the Onosatos are kind of picking up the space.
So let's take a look now at our next category of who we thought the 6 Yusho winners would be this year. So far this year, we had Teru no Fuji, Takeru Fuji, Ono Sato, and once again, Teru no Fuji. All of us got one Teru no Fuji Yusho prediction, and that's where you 3 stopped, and I kept going because I had 2 Teru no Fuji Yushos, plus I had an Ono Sato Yusho this year as well. So I have predicted 3 out of 4 Yusho winners so far this year. And I'm going to say the only
the correct prediction series, it doesn't have a trophy. So
I haven't lost either. So second or third, I'll take it. I've had my years where I've won 3 or 4 in a year. I'll let somebody else have their time to shine. It's Fleric's year this year for the prediction series.
How did you pick an Ono Sato? What was he up to in 2023?
We all rolled the dice on our last pick here.
Yeah, he made his debut in the top division in January. We had not seen him in the top division when I predicted it. It was mostly just like, hey, you're supposed to be the new guy. Prove it. There's gonna be a wild card Yusho winner. Why not him? So it's
broken clock twice a day, whatnot kind of thing.
But 3 out of 4 times a day for me so far.
Your broken clock has been right fairly often.
Fair enough.
The Jurio 5 East, 12 and 13. Was that Jun Yusho with the D on there?
Oh,
lost in a
playoff loss. Okay. Yeah. Okay, Jun Yusho with that. Okay. That's bold. I'll give you the boldness on that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's for picking that.
We all like I said, we all did a crapshoot on the last one.
But that well played.
How literally everybody else did their predictions. Everybody else had Kirishima as Yokozuna by the end of the year. So they had 2 Kirishima Yushos. I mean, I also had a Kirishima Yusho this year. We all predicted 1 Yusho for Hoshoryu. I had a Yusho for Koto Sakura in there, while you 3 still believed in Takakeisho that he would pull out a Yusho this year. And then Jake and Mac had an Atami Fuji Yusho. And Fleric had a Go no Yama Yusho. So very much in the same vein as my Ono Sato's, just like young upstart who gets hot and wins the Yusho. Fleric, how are you feeling about that Go no Yama Yusho prediction?
Ooh. Okay, that one's on me. That was in hindsight, I think I was going definitely a long shot because I know how much it would just really make you angry, and I would be able to also rub a point in your face at the same time. So I have no regrets making the shot. You miss 100% of the shot you don't take, right? But no, that's
what they say.
Not paying off. Yeah.
All right. So we got 2 Bashos left. I mean, there's still high percentage chance that we could hit on 2 of our last guesses. We all still have a Hoshoryu one out there. He's one of the top 3 guys on the Bansuke. There's every chance in the world he could get a Yusho. I think I'm the only one who has a Koto no Waka, or it was Koto no Waka at the time, Koto Sakura now, Yusho. That's very much in the card still. Maybe Takakeisho comes back strong with determination to regain his Ozeki rank in September, pulls out a Yusho there where he won the Yusho last year, or maybe we get another crapshoot youngster Yusho with Atami Fuji or Go no Yama. But who do we realistically think will win the last 2 Yushos this year? And I'm not ruling out a third Teru no Fuji at this point.
Same. And Koto Sakura, that choice has aged well too. I think that's
or a second Ono Sato.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
It does kind of feel like Koto Sakura is kind of taking the Kirishima slot that we thought of, always kind of be knocking on the Jun Yusho door and maybe knocking on the Yokozuna door eventually. So I'm kind of with you. I think definitely some Koto Sakura might be able to do something.
I do think the chaos level is particularly high this year, just in general. So yeah, like I don't know, Hinbozan. Is that going to be like? I literally just picked a random name, but like it's one of those years where that would be like that result would be surprising, but the fact that it was someone unexpected would not be surprising.
No, that wouldn't hold. He hasn't debuted in the top division recently enough. It would have to be like Oshoma or Ono Katsu, who's going to be debuting in September. It'd have to be one of those guys for it to be in the same vein as what we've seen this year.
Yeah, Ono Katsu wins and completely cheapens Takeru Fuji's debut Yusho. That means nothing anymore. Everybody's doing it.
I have a question for the group. Do you think we're done with the random like Hiramaku, like Maegashira and below winners, or is it all going to be kind of like people above?
I mean, no way. For this year or forever?
No, obviously this year we're going to definitely have more. But we've already had Takeru Fuji, and I forget who.
Ono Sato.
Where's Ono Sato?
He won it as Komosubi. So Takeru Fuji's the only one that won it as a Maegashira this year, because Ono Sato was Komosubi when he won it.
But still a wild card. Still one of the guys we didn't think would actually be able to do it, but he did.
You didn't think he'd be able to do it.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, shut up.
We're approaching 2 years from the complete wild card Ichinojo Tamawashi Abi, like 3 Maegashira back to back. That's almost 2 years ago at this point.
Screw 2022.
And I know, right? But like that wound in sumo terms, that wound still feels fresh. So that's why I like just picking a random name like Kinbozan out of a hat. Of course it's unlikely, but it's not like
Hira de Umi.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe that's something that would be like somewhat realistic and also in like the still wild unpredictable kind of wild card vein.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not going to be bold when I say I think our last 2 Yusho will be one from the rank of Sekiwake and above, but that's my prediction for the last 2.
Yeah.
What an onion hanger there.
I'm with you too, Ryan. I think the wildness has been over so far. Even though Osato was Komosubi, which I think kind of why it felt a little bit weird, and he was such a newcomer.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's time for the old guns to kind of show us how it's done.
Hopefully. All right. Let's move on to our 4th category that we took predictions on. Who will finish the year with the most wins, and how many wins will they have? This is historically our worst prediction, as in the 3 previous years that we have done this. We have never once, any of us, predicted who was going to have the most wins at the end of the year. So right now, the top winners of the year is Kotozakura with 44, Ono Sato with 43, and Hoshoryu with 40.
And that's out of 60 potential matches so far.
Correct. Yes.
Each year has a total of 90 matches.
Yeah. And who did we predict to have the most wins at the end of the year? Jake and I predicted Kirishima, who is sitting at 25. Fleric predicted Daisho, who is sitting with 34. And Mac predicted Ono Sato, who is one behind the lead right now with 43 wins. So, you know what? I'm going to be cheering for Mac on this one, cheering for Ono Sato. We got to get one on the board in this category.
we got to validate our 7 years of podcasting here. Speaking of, happy birthday, because this will be the 8th Aki that we have covered.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Aki 2017 was our first basho that we covered sumo. Do not go back and listen to those podcasts.
Please don't. We were very bad at speaking Japanese in particular.
All right. So obviously, Jake, Fleric, and I are out of the running here. Any of this surprise you with the top 3 winners so far this year being Kotozakura, Ono Sato, Hoshoryu?
No, not really.
Going into the year, maybe having Ono Sato be at the top of that list would be surprising. Once again, unless your name was Mac.
Yeah.
Yeah, having Kotozakura, Hoshoryu in the mix there, like that's definitely felt very possible at the beginning of the year. And I think the fact that we thought Kirishima was a step above at that time, obviously we were mistaken, but it doesn't surprise me. You know, it's those guys have been Kotozakura and Hoshoryu. I mean, they've been there super reliable, like real Ozeki level all year here.
Quick fun Kotozakura fact that I honestly did not know until like 2 months ago. Koto Nowaka was his second Shikona, as his first Shikona was Koto Kamatani, which he had in all of his lower division days. And then when he debuted in Juryo, switched to Koto Nowaka. And then obviously once he got to Ozeki, he switched to Koto Zakura. So that's just something I had no idea. He was Koto Kamatani before he was Koto Nowaka.
Yeah, just looking at his page, Kamatani is his actual surname. So yeah, they just slap a Koto on there. That's good.
That's good enough.
Sato Gatake Beya. Just put a Koto on your name and you're good to go.
Okay, yeah. So the 3 in the running, just to remind me, it's Onosato, Koto Sakura, and Hoshoryu.
Yes, and it's not a shock that like our Yokozuna Terunofuji, who is sitting with 2 Yushos this year, isn't at the top of that leaderboard, because we all knew that he would be missing every other Basho. So not a shock that he's not sitting at the top of the leaderboard, despite having more Yushos than anybody so far this year.
Yeah, he sat out 2 whole tournaments. Sorry, go ahead,
Yokozuna and Ozeki are kind of risky because they can afford to take some Bashos off.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you have to be kind of you have to kind of pay attention to that, I guess.
Yeah, Terunofuji has 2 more wins than Kirishima does this year, which feels kind of pathetic having picked Kirishima.
Yeah. All right, I'll keep an eye on this Rikishi going to Aki. And
that's a problem, Fleric, if you're just now going to start keeping an eye on those Rikishi. That's a big problem for the podcast, and I want to talk to you after.
Okay, we can talk. No, I mean like the storyline of who has the most wins. I did not care or did not do any math about up until like right now. I got reminded about it.
Now I kind of
care. I can do math.
Now
from
you want
Aki and Kyushu. I can do math for 2 Bashos on. I can't do it all the rest of the year.
So
this is a cool race to kind of watch.
Let's real quick take a look at how many wins we predicted the #1 win getter to get this year. Mac was shooting low with 58, which not out of the bounds of realism. I think it was like 2022 when Wakataka Kage had the most wins with like 57, 58 wins.
And that was kind of what I was basing that off of. It was like I was feeling this year to be kind of like that. That's why I went with it.
Yep. Jake had 63 wins. I had 66. Fleric had a nice memeable 69. So I'm feeling pretty good. Like Koto Zakura 44 through 4. That's 11 per Basho. If we keep that pace up, that's going to hit right on my 66. So everybody keep your fingers crossed that Koto Zakura or Onosato, either one, hits that 66 number.
And we'll finally get the mark.
Now I'm hoping he's gonna get a win in there. Just get up to that 69. Yeah, get to that 69. Come on.
I think if you're really interested in this topic, I think I'm pretty sure it's on the list of the Wikipedia list of sumo world records or something like that. I think Hakuho and Asashoryu hold the records on this one. I'm pretty sure Hakuho got like more than 80 in a year.
That makes sense.
I think he was like 86.
I think there was a year where he won 5 of the 6 Yushos and only lost like 3 or 4 times. Yeah.
All right, our next topic is who will make their Sanyaku debut this year, and all of us are still waiting for our pick to make their Sanyaku debut, as all of us except for Mac predicted Atami Fuji, who was sitting at Maegashira 1 West in January of this year to make his Sanyaku debut. He's yet to do that, and Mac had predicted Gonoyama to make that jump, and Gonoyama was sitting at Maegashira 3 at the start of the year. So right now, I'm projecting Atami Fuji to be ranked Maegashira 2 in September. So this is going to be based on who makes their Sanyaku debut by Kyushu. So Atami Fuji still in a pretty good spot to do so. If he gets 9 or 10, he could very well make his way up there. Gonoyama, I have him somewhere in the Maegashira 5 to Maegashira 7 range. It's going to be tough. He's got to get some luck in order for him to make his way into Sanyaku for November.
All right. I immediately forgot if you already said it, but who did I predict?
You had Atami Fuji.
Okay, so I'm on the Atami Fuji train. All right.
Yes.
I just want to give Mac a little bit of grief here for being all over the place on his faith in Atami Fuji. Atami Fuji, who he picked would win a Yusho and get Ozeki this year, but not make his Sanyaku debut.
I pick with my heart, not necessarily my head. And sometimes they don't communicate. Like, okay, wait, hold it. That doesn't logically make sense. I'm like, yeah, no, all right, crap. It's already in the books. Damn it.
And everybody knows once you type into a Google Doc, you can't go back and change it. So we probably just typed it in, and that was it. That was it when we were doing our prediction episode.
So we have had 2 rikishi make their Sanyaku debuts. They were Ono Sato and Hira do Umi. So none of us predicted those 2 to get it. So, and there really haven't been that many Sanyaku debuts so far this year. So really pulling for Atami Fuji to get some luck and make his way up there for November. Would love to get another point here. Then we had our next category. How many rikishi will make their Makuuchi debut in 2024? We predicted how many we thought would debut and then predict 1 rikishi that we thought would make their debut. So all of us predicted either 6 or 7 rikishi would make their top division debut this year. And so far this year, we have 5 top division debuts, those being Ono Sato, Shimazu Umi, who debuted in January, Takeru Fuji, who won and debuted in March. We had Oshoma and Toki Hayate, who debuted in May. There were no new debuts in July, but there are 2 very highly likely rikishi to debut in September, those being Ono Katsu and the other being Shirokuma, who, Jake, I listened to the podcast. You very definitively stated that Shirokuma would not be making it up to the top division. Disappointing me.
Darn. I guess much. I don't get a best Bansuke guy trophy then or something.
Is it?
Oh,
wait.
Shucks.
It just means that instead of like hour-long Bansuke episodes, it's very clear I need to go into hour-and-a-half-long Bansuke episodes just to make sure we're paying attention, we're listening, and we're understanding the intricacies of all the Bansuke specifics to make sure we're getting you at a higher level. So we're taking you to remedial Bansuke school, Jake.
Hour and a half? Why don't you just make it 2 hours? Might as well. Just keep on.
You know what, Flerick? You make a damn good point. 2 hours it is.
That is quite the face you have, Jacob. Just utter like,
Jake, how long can you take for lunch?
Yeah, you're gonna have to talk to my boss about that if we're gonna keep doing these episodes on our lunch breaks.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, I don't care. That's your job.
You're gonna care, Jake.
Truer words have never been spoken by Jake. I don't care.
If I can light a fire under Ryan's ass to do better Bansuke's, get that number 1 spot back, maybe then my mission has been accomplished.
I'm trying.
Once you get the end of the caboose, Jake, and like after everyone says their names and you're gonna be the very last one, you're just gonna be reminded each year, like, maybe I should have cared more about that Bansuke. Maybe I should have cared.
We're gonna be like we're on our like 7th anniversary here. We're gonna be on like our 17th, and I'm gonna like make a really good point that puts Ryan down, and he's like, "Yeah, well, you said that Shirokuma wasn't gonna get up to Makuuchi."
Ryan's encyclopedic knowledge comes back. I remember exactly where we were. Oh wait, let's actually go back in YouTube and see exactly what we said.
I could have prevented it all if I didn't have to travel for work that week.
You'll ask your AI assistant, who will give you 10 Mountain Dew unskippable ads in a row, and then it will immediately bring up the video of me saying that.
No, my Alexa already knows that I'm a Dr. Pepper guy. They'll feed me the Dr. Pepper ads.
It makes the world taste better.
So yeah, it looks like we're very likely to hit at least 7 Makuuchi debuts this year, which is what Jake and I predicted. So very much hoping Onokatsu and Shirokuma are the last 2 Makuuchi debutantes for this year. We don't need anybody new coming up in November. Let's stop that.
Come on, Shishi. Come on, Shishi. You can get there.
So as Mac mentioned, there were 3 of us who have already scored a point for the rikishi we thought would make their top division debut this year. Flerick and I went with the easy pickings. Takeru Fuji was like Maegashira 1, Maegashira 2 in January. And he made his debut in March. So we got that point. Jake had to wait a little bit longer for Oshoma, but he got that point in May. And Mac is waiting on Shishi. But I will say, Mac, Shishi is going to be in a good position in September with a good score. He's sitting at Juryo 10 right now as of July, but with an 11-4 record, he's going to push himself up to the Juryo 3, Juryo 2 range, I would guess. So with a 9-6, 10-5 record up at the top of Juryo, Shishi could very well make his way into the top division, giving
you got this, you got this, you got this. Come on.
Next Basho is our last chance because it's based on what happens on the Kyushu Bansuke. So that's our last chance for any debutantes to make it up there. All right, and our final category and our saddest category, which Makuuchi rikishi do we think will retire in 2024? And we guess how many retirees there will be. So this is based on the 42 rikishi that were in the top division in January of 2024. Of that list of 42 rikishi, how many do we think will retire and who specifically? And we were all expecting a much larger bloodbath than there currently was. The lowest prediction was 3 retirees, and then we had Mac with 4, Jake with 5, and none of us have gotten the correct rikishi right for the one that has retired so far.
Not even close.
That being Hokuseiho. We were all thinking like, Takada Fuji, he's going to be dropping down to Juryo for the first time in a while. Maybe he'll call it quits. Aoyama, he just destroyed his knee. Surely he's going to call it a day. Tamawashi, 39, he might as well be dead. Of course he's going to retire. But no, they're all still kicking. Aoyama's he's down at the bottom of the Juryo. He's got the best chance.
He's not even doing that badly.
I mean,
Aoyama, his knee blew up and then he went 7 and 8 twice. Like he's okay. Like what on earth?
He'll be Juryo 12 or Juryo 13. So he's close. He's 1 or 2 basho away from having poor records and dropping down to Makuuchi, where I have to believe he'll retire, but at this rate, maybe
don't know.
But yeah, the only one who has retired so far that was on the January 2024 Bansuke was Hokuseiho, and that's because he's a massive prick.
Yeah. I will say, of all the awards that we messed up predicting, I'm okay with this being the one that we messed up.
Same Flair.
Overshooting just one, and that's an asshole anyways. Like it's okay that Hokuseiho is gone.
Nobody's upset that he's not in sumo anymore after hearing what he did. Yeah.
What he did.
It is funny because I was listening to our prediction episode earlier today because I'm a professional. And for some reason, Jake had like joked about a Hokuseiho retirement on that episode. Well, yeah, because we were all predicting like Tamawashi 39, Takada Fuji 37, Aoyama like 37, 38, and you brought up like Hokuseiho, 21, he'll retire or something like that.
Oh, it was an offhanded remark?
Division. Yeah, it wasn't anything serious, but
okay.
Maybe partial credits in order there.
Yeah, you should definitely clip that. I would love to hear that. I'll be since you have a vague idea of probably the timestamp.
Yeah, I think as a group we need to analyze it like the Zapruder film and see how serious I was.
I can tell you, not.
Ryan listened. No.
Yeah.
Give me like 100th of a point that will only come into play if we tie or something like that.
Will that tiebreaker supersede our prediction series tiebreaker, or how does that work?
Oh, yeah. I don't remember how we scored that, but that's a problem for December.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me.
You're
actually writing it in.
There we go.
He typed it in the Google Doc. It can't be deleted.
Yep, it can't be. We can't erase it.
All right. So let's take a look at our current scores through 4 bashos. If we're ignoring the prediction series, it's Ryan with 6 points. And then you have Fleric. No, then you have Jake with 4 points, and then Fleric and Mac with 3 points through the year. So me getting 3 of the Yusho winners right so far has greatly bolstered my rankings here.
Actually, I have 4.01 points.
Sorry, that is correct. Jake has 4 and 1/100th of a point. But that is not the entire story, as every time you win a prediction series, you get another point for our end of the year standing. So Fleric, having the extremely hot year that he is having with 3 prediction series wins, he jumps into first place, tying me with 6 points, but the tiebreaker is number of prediction series wins. So if the year were to end right now, if there were no more sumo in the year of 2024, every single episode of the podcast in 2025 would be introduced by Fleric for the first time in podcast history.
Yeah.
And Jake would be pulling up the rear, as Mac would tie him with 4 points, and his 1 prediction series win takes precedent over Jake's 1/100th of a point.
I moved up 1.
We'll agree to disagree on that one.
Oh, come on.
Each prediction series win, when it comes to tiebreakers, like carries an additional 1/6 of a point.
Oh, good.
That's more than 1/100th. Dang
That's
it.
more than 100th.
You immediately caved on my demands. I should have asked for more.
I think my favorite part about this is that the stakes are so super, super low. So
Yeah.
Really, really.
So Fleric really cares.
Exactly.
Like, hell yeah, I'll just say my name one time sooner and then just hand it off to Ryan to drive. This sounds great.
I am terrified of what Fleric can do if he is kicking off the podcast. I'm sure he'll get bored of it by the end of January, but that first month is going to be hell.
He'll just sit there, stare into the camera, and just wait. He won't even start the episode. He'll just sit there and be like, you know it won't start until I say something. You know it won't start until I say something.
And then there will inevitably be several times that he just straight forgets, and we have to remind him. Or...
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
It'll all be captured on glorious camera.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I think this is like the perfect bet for us, like as our personalities. I think me and Mac, we need just like a little bit of stakes to really get into it. But the stakes are incredibly low, so Fleric is still into it. And Ryan's just pathologically competitive. So
I don't need anything to be deeply into this and care so very much about it.
To quote one of my favorite people on TV, Ryan, you would do anything to win anything.
Yeah. What is that? The Brendan Lee Mulligan?
Oh, yeah.
I would do anything for a point.
No, that's literally what he said. It's like, I would do anything to win anything.
Yeah.
But yes, thank you. I totally said, I was like one of my favorite people on TV, and then didn't say the name.
It's like, and that is.
All right. It feels like we've went over all the categories. So so which categories are still possible to win? How are we paying attention to this stuff? All right. For Yokozuna, whether or not Terunofuji retires or not is going to be a deal breaker.
That's a big one.
Yep. Terunofuji retiring. How many Ozeki we end up with at the end of the year? Right now, we're sitting anywhere between 2 and 4. And if Takakeisho gets that promotion, actually, it's kind of a wash if Takakeisho gets the promotion. No, actually, for Jake and Fleric, that would be very good for them because they could get the number exactly correct. But as for who is Ozeki, everybody gets a point for that, so it's a wash.
I don't know if I'm used to Fleric being so intense with all of this. Like, okay, how can I win? How can this happen? I'm like,
it's actually strategizing it out.
That is not you. That's not the you I'm used to. Who are you? I think
Fleric, specifically for you, you are rooting for a Gonoyama Yusho, a Kirishima Yusho, a Hoshoryu Yusho, or a Takakeisho Yusho. Wouldn't really matter because everybody's predicted that they would Yusho, except for me. I didn't predict Takakeisho, so you'd get a point on me there. Same for Jake and Mac. They're only really getting points with an Atami Fuji Yusho, and me, I'm really hoping for a Koto Nowaka Yusho because I'm the only, or Koto Zakura now. I'm the only one who predicted one of those for him. A Hoshoryu Yusho does nothing for anybody because
exactly. Yeah, I was gonna say like there's plenty of things that we could get right that don't really matter because it wouldn't set us apart from each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mac is cheering for Ono Sato to get the wins total overall for the year. We're all cheering for what that win total will be. We're all within a possible range of where that could land at this point. Fleric, you, myself, and Jake are going to be rooting real hard for Atami Fuji in September to hope that he gets up to Sanyaku. All of us are going to be cheering against Shishi, hoping that he doesn't get promoted so that the people who predicted 7 Makuuchi debuts would get that right. And then we're just hoping all the old guys retire.
Yeah.
That's what we're cheering for to end the year, Fleric. All the old guys retire.
All the old guys. And also, sorry, but Shishi, I guess fuck you.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
I have nothing against you, but you are now my mortal nemesis for this one category.
Now this is fun. Okay, so all right. I feel like I have some things to pay attention to, which is good. I like actually knowing the race of who has the most wins. So that's kind of really cool too. And I guess Shishi, hope you do terribly.
He doesn't need to do
That's my
that
closing
terribly,
thoughts.
but just like maybe a 7 and 8, that would do just fine for us.
And also Gonoyama Yusho, because it would do the maximum damage.
And it would devastate me to no end.
Yeah.
In fact,
Which
Fleric, you should definitely pick him for all the prediction series for the rest of the year.
That's a good point. Just think if you won with him, how upset I would be. Doubly upset.
Super upset. Mac, and you should pick a Tommy Fuji. Definitely. Everything that you can pick him for, just do it.
Champs and chump, guarantee yourself a point every day.
Bingo.
Yep.
Oof. I don't know.
You'll probably beat Jake with that strategy.
Honestly,
Well-
I am cursed. I'm straight cursed at
Jake's
prediction
happy
series.
to be here.
I'm playing along. I'm just here to do the editing and get beaten up everybody.
It was kind of astounding, this last one. I'm like, how? In all the possible likelihoods, I'm like, how? This doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Honestly, I picked Bushozan to be both of my guys just kind of for the memes.
That
but
was a terrible strategic move.
Yeah, after the fact, I thought I was like well in last place, but it was close enough that I might have been able to pull that off in those last couple days.
Easily.
Regardless, though, I'm just so bad at picking.
Yeah. All right, so that is going to wrap up our 2024 prediction check-in. Coming up, hopefully later this week, Jake and I will be recording the Bansuke prediction. Doesn't matter when we record it because you're not going to get it until 2 weeks prior to the tournament beginning after the Bansuke has been released.
Isn't that only next week?
The Bansuke is not released. No, it's not released next week.
I thought I thought we release it once Guess the Bansuke deadline is passed. And
Guess the Bansuke. Once the Guess the Bansuke deadline is passed. That's correct. Yeah, which might be next week. I
think it was next week. I actually wrote it down, and I'm not. I don't know it well enough to guess, so I probably must have looked it up.
my Bansuke prediction isn't done at this point, honestly. Like I said recently, I've been very busy with work. I've got more travel next week. Like 2 weeks ago during the recap, I was in Maryland. Next week, I'm going to be in Arizona all week. So
fun for you.
Definitely tough fitting all the sumo in with all this stuff recently, but I'm doing my damnedest. With that travel in there, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to open up the next pack of trading cards. I do have one sitting underneath my desk. I'm just not sure I'm going to have the time to be able to do that and then be able to run like the patrons being able to choose a duplicate and send all that out to them. So unfortunately, we might have to punt that to between the next Basho. And I will point out a change in our yearly schedule. We are going to be doing our popularity poll after the Aki tournament. So that is coming up one Basho sooner than usual if you keep an eye out for that. Typically, we've done that at the end of the year, and then we decided, you know what? Doing the year-end award show and the popularity poll results in the same offseason is too much. We're moving the popularity poll to between Aki and Kyushu, so that will be coming up after. That'll be coming up in October. So that's coming up sooner than I was definitely anticipating. Got to get ready for that.
Yeah, no kidding. But yeah, it's still going to be better than trying to combine it all in the same month when we're also trying to like all the family stuff around the holidays. I got a newsletter coming out at the end of in December that is always a pain to find the time to make it happen and all that. And like, yeah, there's got to spread that out. Got to spread that out.
All right. So thank you everybody for listening. And until next time, throw your salt high. Keep moving forward.
keep predicting Sumo poorly.
Speak for yourself.